Monday Mystery Movie Review. Today's movie played on October 9th, 2023. And without further ado, the mystery movie was Freelance, starring John Cena and Alison Brie. Stuck in a dead-end desk job, former Special Forces operative Mason Patisse reluctantly takes on a freelance gig to provide private security for a washed-up journalist as she interviews a ruthless dictator. When a military coup breaks out just as she's about to get the scoop of a lifetime, the unlikely trio must figure out how to survive the jungle and one another to make it out alive. So the movie starts out pretty well. It has a whole first-person sequence going through John Cena's life from his military career to his injury and then to his life as a lawyer. And the way that it's shot in first person is really creative and it just kind of brings you into the story immediately. But unfortunately, that is the end of all creativity in this movie. Freelance is basically a run-of-the-mill action buddy comedy movie. You have two characters, John Cena and Alison Brie, who are kind of the antithesis of each other, and they just butt heads for comedic reasons. It has been done dozens of times before, and it's been done better dozens of times before. The action side of this action comedy was just so boring and not super creative. For example, there's a whole 10-minute helicopter chase scene where John Cena and Alison Brie are running through various environments getting shot at by a helicopter. And they just run through the gambit of environments. You got short grass, medium grass, tall grass, ferns, trees, and of course the usual action movie trope, a river crossing. Each of those settings also has the helicopter shooting at them and then screaming, dodging the barrage of bullets and rockets. And that just keeps happening. It gets really repetitive really quickly after the third time, and because nothing's happening, there's no high stakes. Apparently the helicopter pilot is one of the worst helicopter pilots that this military has.
Come on, man!
And this continues throughout the movie. There's a lot of so-so action sequences and action fights that just don't seem to really go anywhere, which is kind of weird considering John Cena used to be a professional wrestler. You would think they would kind of lean into that and have him do some wrestling moves or just be more physical about it. Now, the final gun battle of the movie takes place in a courtyard, which couldn't be any more than 25 to 35 feet big, and everybody's just missing each other with the bullets. It's crazy. And that brings me to the comedy of the movie, which pretty much was non-existent. So my theater was a little packed. There's about 50 people in the theater, and it was pretty quiet throughout most of the movie, especially from myself. I may have let out a couple of little chuckles here and there, but it wasn't really funny at all. It was kind of the humor you would expect with some sophomoric humor thrown in there, like farts and stuff like that. So it's just kind of like, eh. There was one scene, though, that people really seemed to like and were laughing really hard at, and I have no idea why. There was a scene of a guy crashing a Humvee, and he flew out of it and slammed into the windshield of an SUV. And people were just cracking up, and I don't know why. It wasn't shot in a comedic way. There weren't any funny sound effects. None of the characters made any funny jokes like, some days you're the windshield, some days you're the fly. Like nothing at all. It was just a man splatting in blood on a windshield, and people were cracking up over it. I just found it so weird. Now, the movie's tone and the pacing just really felt super uneven. So you have John Cena supposed to be this straight-laced military guy, and then the next second he's mocking people, and then he went back to being serious, and it was just a really odd mixture of things, because it wasn't funny. It seemed really forced. Most of the humor in the situational comedy comes from the president and his minions and the people that he interacts with. It's borderline slapstick, but he's a pretty funny guy. He is always making jokes at John Cena's expense. The people he interacts with throughout the movie also have funny jokes to each other. It's just John Cena just kind of there in the background going, and he's just kind of there in his own movie. Now, John Cena's character has a back injury that's really pivotal to his entire story arc. However, it's used as a plot device only when it's convenient. So in a whole helicopter sequence, right, he's running, jumping, dodging bullets and rockets, swimming across the river, no back pain whatsoever. But then randomly, he'll just, when he's in a fight, oh, my back! And then he's incapable of completing the fight very well. Like, okay. Another character flaw would be Alison Brie's character and the way the story assassinated her. No, not that kind of assassination. Throughout most of the movie, they build up Alison Brie's character as a strong, independent woman. Somebody who could take care of themselves, that has the hired gun just for backup. She's fighting to get her career back. She wants to expose the truth about capitalism and corporate greed and how they're trying to take over these poor countries and get their resources. Like, she's really gung-ho about these things. And then for some reason, the creators of this movie decided to turn her into some type of sexual vixen. And it made no sense to her character whatsoever. She starts flirting with him. She wants to play a game to see who's going to get the bed. And she starts showing him her tattoos. One's on her upper thigh, one's on her rib cage, you know, and she's kind of, hi. And all the tattoos do make sense, but it just was such a bizarre way. She even like forces herself on him, and he's like about to kiss her. John Cena took this mission to help his relationship with his wife so he could help find himself. And then Bree's character never once showed interest in John Cena's character in that whatsoever. So it was just such a bizarre thing that you kind of force in there. Not every movie needs a romantic interest. Men and women can be friends. They can be colleagues. They don't have to be lovers. Now, I don't usually talk about special effects just because I know budgets aren't really always there for special effects. But one of the things I really don't like is unnecessary CGI. There are certain things that are practical effects that don't need CGI. For example, in the beginning of this movie, they show John Cena looking at photos in picture frames. Now, the pictures in the frames look fake. They all look like they're computer generated for some reason. Why would you do that? Like, why can't you just, you know, Control P on your computer, print out a picture, slide it into the frame, and just call it a day? It just felt like an unnecessary thing. And then there was also a horseback riding scene that just felt like it was straight out of a B movie. So there were obvious body doubles for each of the characters riding the horses. The audio that was coming from them riding sounded super recorded in a studio and just kind of glued on top. And then they had these really awkward zoomed in close-ups of somebody riding the horse. And all you would see right here is like horse's hair flopping up into their face. And then the background is completely CGI. And it was so bizarre. And at one point I thought maybe they're doing this on purpose. This is supposed to be some type of cheesy action film that they're just trying to spoof something else, you know, like, oh, look at how the old action heroes used to be kind of situation. But the movie didn't lean into that angle enough for that to be the case. So what about a rating? Well, I'd probably give it about a 5.5, 6. It just isn't that good of a movie. I wouldn't be surprised if this movie was a streaming movie or if it was a straight to DVD, $5 bargain bin at Walmart type of movie. A buddy action comedy movie that doesn't deliver on either. So did you see the early release of Freelance? If you did, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so I continue to bring you fantastic content just like this. And I'll catch you on the next movie review. See ya. What is the cartoon jungle? Oh, here kitty 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 kitty.